It is amazing to me just how crazy things can get so quickly. I am right outside of Atlanta, and today my phone has been blowing up with messages and phone calls from folks that live around me, and they're asking what to do. Many people are saying, hey, should I get an AR-15, and what should I do with this gun, and should I bug out or should I bug in? And people are kind of freaking out. And it's just amazing that we could so quickly get to this point. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening now and a little bit about what we can do about it. Guys, I haven't been live in ages. Miss Poet and I are chilling back here. Hello. And anyway, I wanted to have a neat little chat about some of the happenings. So Atlanta is in a bit of an uproar right now, and there's been reports that police are only monitoring 3 out of Atlanta's 6 districts. Though I can't absolutely confirm the extent, police are certainly not answering calls, as I've had personal friends who have called the police about gunshots and different types of violence going on, and the police are just like, hey, yeah, sorry, nothing we can do about that. And so what you're about to see is a city on the precipice of complete anarchy. And that sounds real fun when you stick it to the man and, hey, quit oppressing me. But man, I'm telling you, you don't know what you're asking for. Things can go extremely sideways when really bad people are given carte blanche, free rein to wreak as much havoc without any consequence. You do not want that. And in one hand, you know, there's a part of me that's kind of like, oh, the country's calling for the elimination of police. Do you know how horribly wrong that would go for you? And part of it's kind of like petulant children who just don't understand the protection that looms around us in you know, really to our left and right. If all of a sudden that was revealed, there's some really horrific people ready to do great violence to people who really aren't ready for it. And so, and part of it's kind of like, hey, withdraw police for 1 week and see what happens. The problem is there'll be so many deaths that would result from that. It's a lesson I don't want us to have to learn. It's happening even right now as we speak of, man, protesting, which is great. I want people to be able to protest. Cops generally want people to be able to peacefully protest. That's a good thing that's supposed to be protected inside of our constitutional republic. It's a good thing. But it seems like a few dirtbags are getting into the peaceful protest, turning them super sour, and now they're rioting, burning down buildings, being violent toward LE and also ordinary citizens, and it's caused the nation to go in an uproar. And then there's Big Brother media that's like throwing a gasoline just basically throwing gasoline on all this, and it's exploding. Part of it's upsetting to me because, in a sense, there's some of this that isn't really real. Now, George Floyd's death, that was real. Racism and the idiocracy that goes into anyone that's having racial racism, they're idiots. And so all of that stuff, that's very real. But when I say something, this isn't really real, a lot of it's just our fear. A lot of it's the alarmism nature of the media that makes tons of money off making you and I upset and afraid. So we're constantly tuning in so that we can find out everything that's happening on these news outlets. And it's like the media seems to be this puppet master. And every week they have a new disaster that's about to kill us all. Whether it's murder hornets or whatever. Next week, you know, it's kind of like unceremoniously, Corona's out. Like the media stopped playing Corona. Apparently they're bringing it back on now, though. And now it's rioting, and now it's law enforcement. It was murder hornets and whatever else. And I'm not here to say one's real or not real, anything like that. What I'm here to say is I feel like the media is playing us like a bunch of dopey idiots. There are puppet masters saying, dance, you dummies, dance. Now, there are real stuff happening, like the violence that's happening in Atlanta and around the nation. That's real stuff. But a lot of the alarmism nature of the media, they're playing us, guys. They're playing us. And so some of the best stuff we could do is just turn off the news, Quit freaking out. Spend time with friends and family. Get back to work and stop listening to them, and they kind of lose their power. At the same point, I don't want to turn a blind eye to real problems that are resulting. Obviously, I'm for justice, I'm for equality, I'm for love of other people, and that's kind of our whole ethos as a society. We love people, all people. We live for higher purpose, and we're ready to sacrifice in the defense of others. That's our whole big deal. We're very skilled protectors, you and I, warrior poets. And this is the kind of stuff we stand in the gap and we're ready to defend other people. But I can't have my people, you guys, just falling for this over and over. In 2 weeks' time, there'll be some new disaster. What I'm hoping is lefty alarmism and fear-mongering will eventually just cause our trust of the media continue to erode more and more. And even so, I see that happening in all major news networks as a lot of people. I think it was some report 70% of all millennials got all of their news from social media. And that is a huge axe to the tree of big news network power consolidation. So anyway, I guess what I really wanted to accomplish in this message here is to basically say, hey, stuff looks really bad, and in some ways it is bad. In other ways, it's not bad. It's not bad. A lot of it's fear-mongering, scare tactics of media, right? It's kind of like the moment everyone just chills out and says, I think we're going to be okay, we can do better and better, right? It's kind of like active killers. When we start reading the active killer's name, it inspires a bunch of copycats to go out and compete with a horrid legacy if something goes off. So that's what I'm saying. I hope you guys don't misunderstand me on that. Another thing is it serves as a fantastic example of why we need to continue to be ready at all times. Some folks are saying, have called me today and I'm like, hey, I really want an AR-15. I'm like, yeah, you and everyone in the country who hasn't gotten an AR-15. People who are adamantly against guns, they're like, give me all the guns I can get. Give me the biggest guns, and I want a lot of them, and I want to tape them all together and have the world's most awesome gun. And so people who are anti-gun, as soon as they get scared, everyone gets really, really hypocritical, and they're like, give me a gun. And so it is crazy to see people come out of the woodwork. I feel for them as well, because now a lot of folks who thought that they could just walk in a gun shop and walk out with a gun now are being subjected to background checks. And I'm like, yeah, sucks how gun control works. And what I don't want to do is grandstand and say, hey, I told you so, but I told you so. You need to be able to be prepared in terms of you got plenty of ammunition and lots of guns and blade carriers, and I like night vision too, because America, and I like to party, and being ready for that. So when all of a sudden tragedy befalls, my wife and I and my family, I mean, we got food provisions. We got a network of pretty dangerous people around. We got some toys around here to play. It's the wrong time to start buttoning down the hatches and fixing leaks on the roof when the storm is already on you. And so the good news is this is going to pass. Some of you guys who are in the heart of Atlanta right now or other different places are going to probably need to consider to bug in or bug out, but probably keep a low profile, because I think this will get worse before it gets better. We're also seeing is just, I think, a bunch of cowards trying to score cheap political points, like this cowardly DA in Atlanta, who, not listening for GBI to come out on a thorough investigation and report, he immediately initiates murder charges. Whether someone's, guilty or should be indicted or not, really should be predicated on a thorough investigation first. It's part of our whole due process. And the fact he jumped the gun just means kind of like, dude, that you're not following your own systems here. And I don't even want to get in to everything I feel about this, because anyway, it's kind of like, why not get in? There is a basically case for every cop that goes through a police academy. And this case study is basically, hey, a guy steals your taser and goes to attack you with it. Do you have the right for lethal force? In many different places, that's like something that they play in police academy. So my LEO friends, and I've got many, have told me. And I'm kind of like, that's like a real basic one. All cops kind of know that, but it seems like everyone's got amnesia, and in the day of just scoring cheap, immediate political points, completely circumvents our due process. I'm like, man, what is going on? I saw another report today. This was just about an hour ago, where one of my buddies had posted Dallas, in an effort to ensure that use of force doesn't get out of hand. They've implemented a few different policies, and one of them negates the officer the ability to use lethal force, guns, when a suspect is wielding a knife or screwdriver. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Of like, this is Dallas, Texas. If I was a cop in Dallas, knowing that I was not legally allowed to defend myself against a knife-wielding suspect, you need to just walk off that department. And a lot of cops are seeing this. Guys, notice the cops are quitting because they refuse to trample on our constitutional rights. A lot of cops are really good. Some cops are just dirtbags. They super suck. But most cops, they're good. It's just like every profession. Some profession you've got, in all professions, everyone you can think of, you got some, most folks are doing a pretty good job, some people in the middle, and there's a few dirtbags spoiling it for the bunch. You do not want law enforcement to disappear any more than you want military to disappear, right? And so, basically I'm saying, hey, I think it's going to get a lot worse than it gets better. I think the media has a lot of culpability in all of this, but I want us to resist the fear that's basically being put upon us. Let's keep clear heads, right? So that we could be a light for other people around us that are genuinely scared, folks that are not prepared. You guys are more prepared than the common bear, and we're supposed to gather people around us and be good influences, protectors in the midst of desperate times. And that's why I love you guys. I am so thrilled to be part of this illustrious and noble society you and I are in. This is a brotherhood, and I love just being a part of it. I'm surrounded by so many of you guys. I'm meeting y'all all the time when I'm out in public. Like every time I go out in public, I meet one of you, which is really, really cool. And so that's pretty awesome. I get messages from you all the time. And I know for a fact we are a force for good in the world, and we need not fear this. This is going to pass as well, and we'll keep calm heads, and we'll continue to reasonably prepare bit by bit and keep living out that good warrior poet ethos. Guys, this is me from my back porch and Mrs. Poet saying we'll see you next time. Later, guys.